as intriguing, from the revitalization of the Commander Sugar Factory to the tour of the Accra International Conference Center by the Foreign Affairs Committee, revealing serious structural integrity issues over there, among other things. For the major stories making headlines on the floor of Parliament this week, here's the recap. The 2020 elections will be conducted based on the guidelines stipulated in CI 126, which is currently under consideration by the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, the instrument will mature on the 10th of June. Following the Speaker's rejection of his motion, the Bako Central MP, Mahama Ayariga, appeared before the Subsidiary Legislation Committee earlier on Wednesday to make his case. Mahama Ayariga's main argument against the CI is that the use of the Ghana card and passport for voter registration is in breach of laws on citizenship in the 1992 Constitution. The committee is expected to present its report by close of week. The Foreign Affairs Committee of the House, as part of its oversight duty, toured the Accra International Conference Center. The team found that the center was fast deteriorating. Engineer Mike Addo is the structural engineer at the center.
The maintenance regime has not been that adequate all over the years. So this started, the first report I saw on this was in 2014. And it was almost like this. And therefore it means that 2014. So it means that way before then, this had already started. If you look at this, the most affected, the most severely affected column, 30% of the body is gone. 30% of the body is gone.
The body of what?
Of the columns.
Of the columns?
Yes, are gone. We don't know what is down there. But you see, the column transmits the load to the foundations. As it is now, for the compression that is coming on, it looks like it is doing fine because the load is spread all over. Our fear should be if there is any lateral loading, and you can have that when there's ground movement, tremors, then we could have problems.
Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Frank Anodombre, believes the Foreign Affairs Ministry must give the needed attention to the edifice.
We will use this medium to appeal to the sector minister, our hard-working Foreign Affairs Minister, who I know is also very emotional and passionately attached to this building, that they have to respond. What are the plans? Short, medium-term, long-term plans for the building? We need to know. But as a committee that has oversight, we are not going to sleep on our oars. We are going to make sure that something is done, not just for the sake of it, but for the fact that it will protect lives, it will save the economy a lot of money. Coupled with the fact that we are playing host to the Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretariat.
The Saglemi Housing Project was started under the Mahama administration, but has stalled for the past 3 years due to a probe by government into the contracts for the project. Addressing Parliament, Minister of Works and Housing, Samuel Atachia, said the Attorney General had established an initial case of embezzlement.
The Attorney General assessed a strong position in law that all the contracts purportedly signed by Honorable Collins Dawda MP and thereafter some wayward chief directors, after the original contract has received parliamentary approval, are void ab initio and have no legal consequence. At the moment, the Ghana Institution of Surveyors are engaged in a value for money audit. Mr. Speaker, their findings will indicate the extent of embezzlement of state resources via the vehicle of affordable housing delivery. All the traducers of the law will be arraigned before a court of competent jurisdiction to answer criminal charges. Civil action shall be used to recover monies lost to the state.
But a former deputy minister who served during the period of the project, Samson Ahi, says nothing untoward happened with the project.
He said this 3 years ago, that they were taking those corporates to court. 3 years ago that he said it. In the country, last year, it generated heated discussions in the country. We have been waiting for when that court matter will start.
Now he's ready.
Huh?
Now he says he's ready.
Everybody is also ready to respond because we didn't do anything untoward.
Last month, government began collating data on Ghanaians in need of urgent evacuation due to the outbreak of COVID-19. Subsequent to this exercise, Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayoko appeared on the floor of the House to answer questions on the exercise. She outlined plans for Phase 2 of the evacuation of Ghanaians abroad.
Yesterday, the 4th of June, we received a charter flight from Lagos, Nigeria, of 7 persons. Today, the 5th, we will receive a charter from Mauritania of 15 persons. On the 6th, we'll receive a charter of 5 persons from the island of Turks and Caicos. Same day, the 6th, a charter of 35 persons from Washington, D.C. On the 6th, also a charter of 14 persons from Burkina Faso.
But the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, whose question brought the minister to the floor of the House after the address, registered his dissatisfaction with aspects of government's plan.
I don't think that we have done our best when it comes to the quarantine arrangements that I have heard in Parliament today, because the bills are too high. 7,000 cities, 8,000 cities, 9,000 cities. We can do better. So let's renegotiate. Let's have better discounted offers. And let us also consider, because the minister herself acknowledges that there are 4 categories of people they are looking at. One category are those who are distressed, who are in the vulnerable group, who cannot afford. How do you expect that people who cannot afford plane tickets, far less than 8,000 cities, 9,000 cities, can all of a sudden afford the cost of quarantine?
Minority caucus on the Trade and Industry Committee of Parliament toured the Tama Port to monitor the rollout of the Unipass system. Some freight forwarders expressed their frustration with the system.
We've paid duties in a GCNet system. Now GCNet is off. It doesn't even reflect in Unipass. So how do you expect us to work? How do you expect us to work? And now we should think about the client, the person who is importing in. He's bringing the jobs. He's bringing revenue. So if we can't hold this, we can't resolve this. As my boss was saying, we're all trying to say that, at least they should bring back GCNet. But now GCNet has backed off. So the best thing we are supposed to do is, as soon as possible, we should find a solution to this. Since Monday, people have paid their duties on Friday, on Thursday. Now they cannot even work.
People to pay demurrage.
You will have to pay them.
Demurrage 25,000 to the shipping line. And how much the person is going to sell the thing? If it will be you, how much the person is going to sell it? So we are praying to the government that we are all Ghanaian. We are not the different people in this country. So they should do something about this issue. Or else, we are going to we are coming there to the Flaster House. Because we are tired. We are tired. Why? Why?
Ranking member on the committee, Emmanuel Amakofibua, made the observations known after the visit.
We caution this government that tread cautiously in this transition. You are in a rush. You violated every tender process. Did a sole sourcing. We want to get out GCNet and West Blue. Company that still has a contract that is valid. A company that, quite frankly, had given government so much revenue. You brought a company that was not tested according to all the records we have. We caution that this is going to really pose 2 critical dangers. One, we will risk losing revenue as a country at a COVID period, a crisis period, where we need so much money. We also caution this government that it's going to bring too much hardship to traders.
Parliament last week was at the center of brewing controversy over whether or not some staff and MPs had tested positive for COVID-19. This resulted in calls to shut down the House for at least 2 weeks. But First Deputy Majority Chief Whip Matthew Nyendam says the House will not be shut down.
The house will not shut down. Business will have to continue. Today we've recorded about 8,290 something. All these human beings are from one department or the other. Okay? Some are ministers, some are MPs, some are media guys. All these places you people are operating. You haven't closed. So Parliament will not close.
Some members of Parliament expressed views on the President's decision to ease restrictions associated with COVID-19.
We are where we are. Ghana is not an island unto itself. Indeed, even island countries have suffered COVID-19. And I would admonish our cherished viewers, good people of this country, that all the safety protocols that we have been advised to abide by becomes a part of us. Let us keep washing our hands. Let us wear our mask when we are going out. Let us keep appropriate social distancing protocols. And above all, if you don't have any business that would have to take you into town, by all means, stay home.
I don't see any reason for this at this point. If we were having lower numbers, then we will clap for him for doing a good job as the president of the country, and who has done so well in keeping us safe. That I'll clap for him.
The ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of the House called for government to withdraw the 100% increment on the bust margin.
It is a simple decision. I need money to take care of the people, and I'll make them worse off by getting the money. There is no need. And if we're at normal times you introduce it, we will not have any problem with that. But during pandemic, where most people have been laid off, people are struggling to keep their jobs. There is huge burden at home because most students are at home. This is not the time to be increasing levies, margins, and taxes. It is not the time.
We'll take a break here. When I come back, there is more. Stay with us.
We're about to change your Sunday night for the better.
Set your timers and join us every Sunday night starting from the 7th of June on The Upside Down Show. We will bring you the most captivating guests and explore the most amazing stories.
We will dazzle you with real-life situations and examine mind-blowing topics. Join me, Frema Dunyame,
and me, Ato Kwamna, every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Citi TV. Are you ready?
Every day at 8 p.m., Citi Newsroom brings you analysis of the major news stories of the day. It's in-depth, comprehensive, and researched.
Disperse the crowd using tear gas, but more weapons have been fired. And I'm sorry, speaking to you directly from the window of a police station in between two troubles.
Please, I'm just after the fetching of the water because the government is saying that they should give us some water freely. But hereby, we are not seeing anybody who is bringing the water for us to fetch.
It's 1 hour of local news from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Citi Newsroom, every day on Citi TV. It's your world.
This week, on the From the Floor segment, we have three offerings. First, an interaction with the Honorable Sabon Atachian on the state of the criminal prosecution that government intends to undertake on the botched Saglemi housing project. Also, the Honorable Samson Ahi, Member of Parliament for Bodi, was the Deputy Minister at the time Saglemi housing project commenced. He also has a side of the story. And finally, what is government's plan for the evacuation of Ghanaians who are stranded abroad by the COVID-19 pandemic? Minister for Foreign Affairs Shirley Ayokobotwe appeared on the floor of Parliament this week and will be updating us and the whole of the country on the steps by government.
the scope of works of what has been done by Parliament? These are matters that anybody should answer. And as to whether if there is no guarantee, you could take 40 million United States dollars of the contract sum abroad, and there's no return of importation of materials to do the job. These are matters which should be obvious to everybody. But when we say that they are now doing the audit, what is the audit about? The main purpose of audit, if I want to tell you, is how to know the quantum of money we need to complete the 5,000 housing. Now, but not necessarily to say that the audit is going to sort of exculpate those who have stolen the money. In fact, the audit is going to give us an additional bonus evidence to show that we've been shortchanged. And it's so obvious.
My second has to do with for about 3.5 years. We've not taken any action. In 6 months, the elections, we are now hearing you talk about it.
It's not true. It's not true. You are not following the ministry. I regret to tell you. If you follow the ministry, we are working. But let me tell you something that Akufo-Addo won't do. He won't do witch hunt. Do you know what witch hunt is? Let's go after this man, whether there is evidence or not. We are not going to go into that kind of politics. Make sure that you do not disturb a man until the evidence against a man is strong. So we have the evidence. You know how long it took for us to even decode the evidence. You come to my office and you see that the papers are sitting like a mountain. I'm not going to sit down there and behave like some lazy lawyer and then I lay false charge against another former minister. I'm not going to do that. You take your time, distill the documents, come out with what is good, come out with what is bad, and then you'll be able to deal with it. But I can assure you that we've done a yeoman's job. If you know what we've gone through, even to get the Attorney General to give us an opinion, it took a considerable length of time. Because you need to ferry all the documents to the Attorney General. Attorney General would take her time to also peruse the documents before coming to conclusions. So this ad hoc way, or as if you want to pursue your enemies, that was not part of this ministry and Akufo-Addo's government. That is why you are saying it that maybe we've taken too long and the rest of it, but it's because of the processes. It's better to go through genuine processes than to hurry people and it turns out that you are just harassing them. I will not do that kind of politics.
So now you have an opinion from the Attorney General.
Yeah.
Do you care sharing that with us?
Yeah, the Attorney General is saying that, for instance, what Collins that did was ultra-virus his powers. He didn't have the requisite power to overrule parliamentary approvals. And that the consequent tinkering of that document is null and void. It is of no consequence. And all the chief directors who purported to have downsized the contracts, they are in acts of illegality. It's stated clearly. And also the contract has lapsed. That was a clear position of the Attorney General. And they are unable to complete the contract within the defined time.
The contractor?
Yes.
Is he also liable in this case, or the target is just the former appointee?
Oh, the contractor is the chief culprit, if you care to know. You understand? Those who ordered him to blow our money, they are also part of it. But when the time comes, you will see whether we are trying to do politics with this parliament or we are trying to protect the national affairs. That's why I find it weird that people are nervous that we are undertaking a program to protect the national affairs. I believe it should be apolitical. If people are raping the nation financially, I'll be shocked to see anybody in the name of party politics to come to their defense. That is most embarrassing and shameful.
Are we likely to see an action before the elections? Before we talk about soon?
Well, we have the end of the month to, get the report. Immediately we get the report, I'm ready with the rest of the document. I'll take it to the Attorney General, and then my remit ends. Attorney General will then take steps to deal with the matter.
Surveyors will release the report by the end of this month.
That is so. And that is very important. And they are working hard time to do it. In fact, they've had to even move to the site and rent premises close to the site so they'll be able to, do quick work.
You mentioned your friend Samson was the deputy minister at the time. Is he also mentioning that?
He has no space here at all. There's nowhere that he was involved with X or Y. But we are looking at the documents in cold print. sometimes look at the print, you know whose signature is under whatever was done as illegal. And that person is the one to answer. If not, then when a minister messes up, the deputy ministers are to blame. That will not be the rule of law.
Minister, he told Parliament the figures that allegedly paid by the former minister. When you were asked how much you paid from the time you started payment up to now, you were unable to provide the figures.
Yes. Because I'm not supposed to have a head which is equal to a computer. I'm unable to keep everything in my head. You see, settlement is just one of the issues in the ministry. If you know the mountain of work in the ministry, but if you are interested, we'll be able to tell you what has been paid. But I have not paid any since I became a minister. I can assure you. Some people are purported to have paid some money. They will suffer for it, not me. Yes, because my signature is not under anything. So if you are chief director and you are sufficiently wayward to parcel Ghana's money away without reference to the minister, it's up to you. But let me tell you about something. No chief director has the power to commit the government of Ghana financially. It's the minister. So any chief director who does an underhand tactic to give undue financial advantage to a contractor is in serious trouble. And that is the position. I am the spending officer. If the chief director brings me anything to sign, I look at it. No, it stinks. I won't sign. That's the end of the matter. If the chief director purports to have signed documents that he didn't have the power to sign, he is the one that they will drag to the appropriate place in good time. When you have 5,000, when you have 200 million, you understand, to do 5,000, do it in phases. What will be the purpose of the money if you have to do it in phases? They're giving you the whole money to do 5,000. So what kind of arithmetic is that? Oh, let's do a phase. Then we'll sell the phase and continue. It's when there's a poverty of funds that you do that kind of arrangement. But the whole 5,000 has been approved by the parliament, with 200 million approved by the parliament. And the money has been put in an escrow account. So what is happening is that you have sufficient money to do the 5,000. That argument is mischievous. It doesn't show honesty. And those who are pushing it should be careful. They are not borne out by the documents, I can tell you. There is no such arrangement. There is no document that says so. And now attach here will not amend what Parliament has done. I can't do it.
When he assumed office, he visited the project site. He commended highly the contractor and the ministry for supervising a good job. Because of that, he decided to continue the project without reviewing what he met. And for that matter, in March, he honored certificates. He honored certificates to the tune of $5.6 million, which he paid under his watch. Then he also extended the contract period because the contractor was unable to complete on schedule. He extended the contract period. Now he is complaining about Mofisant's alleged corruption in the execution of the project. Is it by this saying also that he helped to perpetuate those corruption and Mofisant's embedded in the project? The minister said today on the floor that they paid 40% of the mobilization fund, which is $80 million, to the contractor, which the contractor transferred $40 million, which nobody saw or nobody knew what the contractor used that money for. That is not true. Per the record, by the consultants to the project, AESL and others, the first payment to the contractor was 20%. That is $40 million. And this was used to procure equipment, facilities, all other things that will be needed to execute the project. If you go to the site today, you will see all those equipment that was used, that $40 million was used to procure. So it is not true that $80 million was paid, subsequent payment was made based on assessment of work done, certificate issued, certified by the consultant, and then the ministry also recommended to finance ministry to make those payments. It is not true. I have a report by the consultant that has stipulated all the payments, and there's nowhere that has been stated that 80 million at once was paid to the contractor. Nobody varied the contracts. Parliament approved $200 million to the Ministry of Works and Housing to undertake 5,000 housing unit projects. In fact, in that agreement, it was stated that they should use $200 million to build up to 5,000 housing units. That was the word used, up to 5,000 housing units. There's a difference between commercial agreements, which came to Parliament for Parliament to approve. That had the $200 million to construct 5,000 housing units, and different from the EPC agreements, which you will come up after the engineers have done the designs. If you are saying that use $200 million to build 5,000 housing units, what you are saying is that you should not even think about water. You should not think about power to the site. You are not even talking about drainage systems on site. You are not talking about sewage systems on site. So you are saying that $200 million used to build 5,000 housing units. It doesn't work that way. So, in the initial agreement signed by E.T. Mensah, this one was not even done by Collins Dowda. The agreement that was signed by E.T. Mensah and the contractor, they stated in it that the project will be executed in 4 phases. Phase 1. So after the designs, the EPC agreement had the first phase of 1,502 units. By the time we left office, we could count for all the 1,502 units. More than 1,084 had been completed. In fact, when the minister took office and visited the site, he was shown into those houses that had been completed. And that was the basis for his commendation of the project. So today, if the minister is saying that the project was executed less than what was approved, that is not true. In March 2017, Atachian was the Minister for Works and Housing. Under his watch, and that payment was made in March 2017. It was Collins Dowda, a Minister of Works and Housing, in 2017.
He said he didn't sign.
He didn't sign, so how was the money paid? Can you move to the Works and Housing Ministry and then approve a certificate to be paid? Chief Director? Okay. Then you should explain. If you are a minister and then you sit down there for the Chief Director to be signing, approving a certificate without your knowledge, he shouldn't insult himself. The project was supposed to be done in phases.
So the 200 million is for what?
To build up to 5,000 housing units. I've said it. Which means that you will not from the word go start and finish 5,000 housing units. Because in the first place, you have to look at the cost of the land. You have to look at infrastructure, the cost of water, the cost of the drainage system, the cost of utilities. You understand? Roads and other auxiliary projects. For instance, there was supposed to be a shopping mall. There was supposed to be a police station. There was supposed to be a school. So how do you cater for this? If you want that, you should use 5,000 housing units to build, if you use $200 million to build 5,000 housing units. And for that, if you went to the site, you want to count 1, 2, 3, 5,000. Nothing else. If you do that, who will go and live there? He said this 3 years ago, that they were taking those corporates to court. 3 years ago that he said it. All you know in the country, last year, it generated heated discussions in the country. We have been waiting for when that court matter will start. It's not fair for human habitation at the moment because when the contract was signed, infrastructure was not part of it. And so it was the responsibility of government of Ghana to provide those onshore infrastructure, that is sending water to the site, sending electricity to the site. But the contractor has built in the infrastructure all the infrastructure system on the site. So it's up to the government of Ghana to send power, to send water, to send other utilities to site, so that the place can be habitable. You come to office, instead of focusing on this thing to extend water to the place, you are just going around looking for mistakes so that you can send people to court.
Government took the decision to begin the process of evacuating our compatriots home following the alert from the World Health Organization that COVID-19 is most likely to remain a global public health issue until a vaccine is developed. The decision was also informed by the data gathered by our diplomatic missions abroad on the categories of Ghanaians who were stranded. For several weeks, the Foreign Ministry and its missions abroad, together with key ministries, departments, and agencies, such as the Interior, National Security, and Aviation Ministries, and the Ghana Immigration Service, have been working closely to bring home stranded Ghanaians in several countries. To ensure a well-coordinated evacuation exercise, government decided to undertake the exercise in phases. This decision was informed by financial and logistical considerations, namely the capacity of our isolation centers to hold large numbers of evacuees, as well as the human resource capacity of the National COVID-19 Task Force, comprising personnel from various security agencies. Mr. Speaker, the evacuation of stranded Ghanaians abroad has been categorized into 4 groups as follows. 1. Ability to pay. This comprises private individuals, business/corporate sponsored employees, privately sponsored students on exchange programs, government-sponsored students who are yet to complete their courses, but who, without any compelling reasons, insist on returning home. It also covers foreign-sponsored evacuations, which only require government to provide travel documents and guarantee safe passage, as well as Ghana residence permit holders, including diplomats and dependents. 2. Government-funded evacuation. This comprises government officials who traveled on official business, government-sponsored students who have completed their courses of study, as well as government-sponsored students who are yet to complete their courses, but who are compelled to leave their places of residence. 3. Distressed and the destitute. This group is composed of Ghanaians who had traveled to various countries before the advent of the pandemic, but whose circumstances have been worsened due to the crisis and consequent travel bans and other restrictions imposed by different countries around the world. 4. Deportees. This group comprises Ghanaians who have been scheduled for removal from various countries. Mr. Speaker, you were all witnesses to the return of the 230 Ghanaians from the state of Kuwait on the 23rd of May 2020, who were quarantined at the Pram Pram Quarantine Center. Following the return from Kuwait, I am pleased to inform this House about government's efforts to extend the evacuation to stranded Ghanaians in other parts of the world. Let me, however, underscore the fact that in view of the logistical constraints as earlier mentioned, the evacuation exercise can only be undertaken in phases. To this end, I wish to inform the House of the next phase of arrivals scheduled for this month as follows. And this is phase 2, arrivals by charter flights. Yesterday, the 4th of June, we received a charter flight from Lagos, Nigeria, of 7 persons. Today, the 5th, we will receive a charter from Mauritania of 15 persons. On the 6th, we'll receive a charter of 5 persons from the island of Turks and Caicos. Same day, the 6th, a charter of 35 persons from Washington, D.C. On the 6th, also, a charter of 14 persons from Burkina Faso. And on the 9th, one from Mauritania, bringing in 4 persons. Our phase 3 would be assisted, what we call assisted evacuation by KLM charter flights. On the 17th, we will receive a flight from London made up of 435 evacuees. On the 24th, we will receive a charter from New York of 299 persons. And on the 28th, one from Washington, D.C. of 300 persons. It should be noted that these arrangements are subject to other requirements in the host countries, such as permits being granted, overflight, and landing clearance. And so as a result, there may be changes in the scheduled dates of arrival. Mr. Speaker, I wish to also report that negotiations are currently underway between our Beijing mission and Ethiopian Airlines for the evacuation of some 675 stranded Ghanaians in China. Similarly, our mission in Abu Dhabi and consulate in Dubai have initiated discussions with the UAE authorities for the evacuation of over 500 of our nationals who are stranded in that country. The Foreign Ministry is also in discussion with the Scholarship Secretariat and the National COVID-19 Task Force to finalize arrangements to evacuate 141 Ghanaian students who completed their language proficiency courses in Benin last month using STC buses. Now arrangements are in place to evacuate them on the 13th of June. Additionally, arrangements are in progress to assist with the evacuation of stranded Ghanaians in other countries such as Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Italy, South Africa, Spain, Netherlands, Niger, Nigeria, Norway, Kenya, Ethiopia, Lebanon, and Switzerland. Mr. Speaker, before I end my response, allow me to state that priority may be given to urgent evacuation requests that require minimal government intervention, such as pre-arranged charter flights awaiting landing clearance from government. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
With the countries who are
lifting their nationals from Ghana. I'm aware that we do open the airports for them and the chartered flights come in empty. Isn't it possible to negotiate at a high level, you and your foreign counterparts or the presidential level, so that instead of those flights coming in empty, they can bring in some of our compatriots? I'm sure that will be far cheaper. Has that been considered? And finally, do you have an idea how much all of these evacuations will cost? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
An arrangement that would have been very ideal, which is the empty flights that come in to pick nationals of other countries. We have made attempts to have such arrangements in place. Unfortunately, there's one that we are presently trying to negotiate, and one way, even though they're going to come empty, since we made the proposal to bring our citizens in, the cost, and I cannot mention the country, the cost per person, per passenger is over $3,000. So it is even better for us to charter our own flights to bring them in. There's another that we are negotiating for those coming from a country in Europe, and I'm hoping that the cost will not be too high. So that's where we are. It's difficult because they're using commercial flights, and so once for them it makes business sense because you're desperate to charge you high fares. These commercial airlines that the countries are using, so it can't be free, and it hasn't proved cheaper for us. Thank you, sir. And then the cost, I may come back to the House to, once it's all done, to put a cost to all the evacuations after it's been done. But from China, Guangzhou to Accra, we are looking at one flight costing over $800,000 US. We are fortunate with regards to the UAE that the Dubai airline, which is Emirates, is charging us 2,500 dirham, which is about $670 US per person to bring them here. Mr. Speaker, I think that is what I can say for now. We've negotiated some good rates also with KLM between London and Accra and the US, which London Accra is running around 650 euros, and between the US and Accra is 1,200 euros.
The quarantine on arrival, do they pay the cost of quarantine? Do they pay themselves?
Indeed, the passengers would have to pay their own hotel bills for the quarantine, except for those who are destitute, who are stranded. But for those who are not, they would have to pay. And they are paying themselves for the fare to bring them back. It is not government. No country so far, including our neighbors in Nigeria, our neighbors in Togo, in Benin, none of our neighbors has brought back their nationals free to their country, respective countries, free of charge. And all the evacuations you hear about from Ghana to respective countries, none of them has been free. It cannot be free. Government cannot take that cost on board. So yes, they will be paying for their quarantine as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
What is obvious is that the issues that have emanated from the floor of the House this week are weightier issues that would come up again anytime soon. And we'll update you as and when it matters and comes up. For now though, we'll take a break. When I come back, there is more on the chamber. Stay with us.
Businesses are evolving with the changing times, and the Citi Business Festival is doing the same. In the month of June, the Citi Business Festival goes digital. Citi TV, in collaboration with Absa Bank, will give SMEs the opportunity to reboot their businesses with expert forums, discussion platforms, and interactive Zoom sessions. There will be a lesson for every business. Join the virtual business forums every Tuesday in June at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and gain the knowledge you need to kickstart your business. Explore new ways of engaging your customers with the e-commerce forum on Tuesday, the 9th of June at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Get tips from the Agribusiness Forum on how to create another career in agribusiness on Tuesday, the 16th of June 2020 at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And get all the industry knowledge with the Trade Forum on the topic, Will Export Trade Be the Same Again? On the 23rd of June 2020 at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Revamp your business and work environment this June with the virtual business forums only on Citi TV every Tuesday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. To be interactive and ask questions pertinent to your business, join in the forum via Zoom. To participate via Zoom, register by calling 0205 973 973. That's 0205 973 973. Citi Business Festival is powered by Citi TV and Absa Bank with support from the Ghana Investment and Promotion Center.
There are those with untold stories, unraveled feats, life-changing stories, and lasting legacies. They tell their stories themselves right here on Footprints.
So we go to someone we were put in our various cells, and then someone you have it's a huge prison, and then it was then that it dawned on me that I was really in big trouble.
Do you think that the overthrow of Liman was justified?
I think that with hindsight, there was no justification.
Be inspired by their hard work and resilience that led to those outstanding achievements as we trace their footsteps through the capsule of time.
Because of my upbringing, my mother, my father, they are, Christianity.
Yeah.
So because of that,
strong hands at home.
Even though I'm the guy smoking, doing all kinds of that, I've never tried.
You've never tried?
No, never tried weed or anything. Nothing.
You've never tried weed?
Even drinking, alcohol, no.
Why you people put everything, Kwame. Everything was done before Nkrumah arrived in the country.
No, aho ni leba ye.
Aho never ye.
So join me, Samuel Mensah, and my guests every Saturday at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. only on Citi TV.
Footprint is sponsored by Bethel Logistics Company Limited, experts in shipping logistics.
Hello, welcome back from the break to Duke's View. This week, the issue I want to have a take on has got to do with something that has been in Parliament. Of course, it's been an issue lingering on for the past 2 weeks. It's got to do with the mass testing exercise that was conducted in Parliament for COVID-19. Generally, globally, the world is still grappling with COVID-19. In Ghana, the president has started easing restrictions with regards to COVID-19. Schools and religious activities have had restrictions eased by the president the past week. But at the very outset of the second meeting, which is just about 3 weeks old, the Speaker of Parliament indicated in his chair on the floor of the House that there will be mass testing in the House on the orders of the Parliamentary Service Board. That has taken place, of course. It didn't even take place just once, taking place twice. First week, some 690 persons, members of Parliament and also the Parliamentary Service staff, were tested. But after that, there was the need for a mopping up exercise to be done, which also took place last week. But as I speak to you today, there is no clarity as to the numbers. And we have said on this program, on this platform, that it's not necessary to put out the identity of these persons who have tested positive in respect of patient-doctor confidentiality and the ethics of the medical profession and how these things are done. We do not want to know the names or the identities of these people, but put out the numbers. How many people tested negative, how many people tested positive, so that we know the metrics for which Parliament is taking a decision to continue sitting when many are of the opinion or of the view that the House should be shut down because of a seeming outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic in Parliament. There was this whole brouhaha about, it's 2 MPs, 13 members of staff. No, we are not aware, debunking reports and the rest. Later, a member of the leadership of Parliament came to confirm that indeed, that's the number. A week after the mass testing exercise ended, in fact, 2 weeks after the very first exercise ended, the deafening silence of the leadership of Parliament on the numbers regarding this mass testing exercise is very loud. The deafening silence is very, very loud. And it's our opinion here that the earlier the House comes out with the numbers, the better it would be. So that based on the numbers, you can make a rational medical scientific justification as to whether the House should continue to sit or should be shut down for disinfection of the chamber, disinfection of the premises, isolation and contact tracing. But if everybody is kept in the dark as to what really transpired, it's not good for accountability, it's not good for transparency, and it's not good for the image of Parliament, which is the House of the Representatives, the very bastion of our democracy that people have tried to build and which Parliament is trying to protect and project. So I think that it's in the interest of Parliament to come clear on the numbers, to come clear on the figures and make a justification as to why the House should continue to sit or should be shut down at least for 2 weeks for all the necessary protocols to be observed, because it's a matter that is being grappled with world over. So it's not a shame if the House is shut down to put in place all the necessary protocols to assure of everyone who works within this enclave's safety. I don't think that is too much to ask for. I don't think that's too much to ask for. And we demand answers from the leadership of Parliament regarding this all important matter. That's my view for the week. And that's how we wrap up this week's edition of the Chamber right here on Citi TV. My name is Duke Mensah Opoku. In the spirit of our 2nd anniversary, Citi TV is 2. Keep watching Citi TV and enjoy the rest of our program.